Hello everybody, Ben here, and welcome to my first state-specific Senate election. Today we're going to be talking about West Virginia, and this little state nestled in the Appalachians, borders Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Kentucky, and regular Virginia. I actually live not too far from this border on West Virginia. Honestly, it'd be about, maybe an hour and a half drive. Maybe. So I'm not going to say I'm too familiar with the state's politics because, that's not true in any sense of the word. But, I'm kind of familiar with the area. I've been through West Virginia a few times, and, it's a great state. It really is. Anyway, so we're going to be talking, and the seat is currently held by Joe Manchin, Democrat. And he was first elected to that seat in 2010 to replace Harry Byrd, who was the incumbent from the 1950s in that state. In recent Senate history, the most recent West Virginia election happened in 2014. I really should have looked her name up, but let me just look this up. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Shelley Capito. Okay, cool. When she became the first Republican elected to the Senate in West Virginia since the 1950s. Yes, that's how long West Virginia has voted Democrats into federal office. And they only recently became a Republican state and have just slid more and more to the Republicans, at least at the presidential level. At the Senate level, they had long-standing incumbents in office that were Democrats, and of course that wins. So, to break down how I'm going to be doing these predictions, since this is the first one, I'm not only going to be looking at the candidates. We've only got one right now, and that's I'm not going to look at other candidates before the primaries have been decided because I don't know. I don't have the time. Truth is, I just don't have the time to go that in depth. So I'm only going to be judging it, and I'll kind of make a point on when we do get candidates, if there are candidates to make. So anyway. I'm going to look at all the elections for a state from a given year. And I'm going to go back to 1980 for president and 1982 for the Senate, in this case. And I'm going to look at how they voted nationally at that level, and how the nation voted, and how the state in question voted for that specific seat. Okay, so, and then I'm going to look at every cycle to see if there's any trend. And I'm also going to look at recent trends, aka from the year 2000, where we get our modern map, our current presidential election map, where we have generally defined areas which are considered red states versus blue states, with our modern slate of swing states. So anyway, the national swing, there hasn't really been a national swing, to be honest with you, over that time period. Interestingly enough, in 1982, the nation voted 54% for Democrats and 43% for Republicans. And in 2012, the most recent Senate election for this specific seat, the nation voted 41% for Republicans and 53% for the Democrats. If we look at 2014, however, nationally 51% voted for Republicans and 43% for Democrats. In 2016, that was almost completely reversed, and 42% voted for Republicans and 53% for Democrats at the national level, which is 11 points more Democrat, which is really interesting considering the Republicans held on to control of the Senate. If I remember correctly, they did lose 2 seats, which was expected. They were actually expected to lose more, but I'm not going to get into that. We're just talking about what happened. 2014, the most recent West Virginia election, which voted in a Republican for the first time. If I didn't check to see if she defeated an incumbent or it was a vacant seat. If it was a vacant seat, this needs to be weighed more heavily. Actually, let me go ahead and check that. Wikipedia. There we go. Okay, so it was a vacant seat. Wait, did it say it was a vacant seat? Oh, oopsies. Shelley Moore Capito. Okay, yeah, it was a vacant seat. She won 62% of the vote, which is 11 points more Republican than the nation as a whole. Okay, so I'm going to factor that in a little bit, but not too much, because, you know, we're dealing with an incumbent in Joe Manchin. Okay? So, I'm just going to state for record, in 82, West Virginia voted, at least in the Senate, voted in the Senate 14 points more Democrat than the nation as a whole. In 88, they voted 12 points more Democrat than the nation as a whole when it came to the Senate. In 94, 25 points more Democrat than the nation as a whole. In 2000, 33 points more Democrat than the nation as a whole when it came to the Senate. And remember, this is a state that George Bush, a Republican, won. That shows you the power of incumbents. In 2006, voted 11 points more Democrat than the nation as a whole. There was no national level election in 2010, but Joe Manchin won this special election by 10 points, 53 to 43. And in 2012, in the Senate, they voted Democrat 7 points more than the nation as a whole. So since 82, which is our long-term trend, Democrats have lost 7 points in their advantage. And this is despite incumbency advantages, right? Which is about 1 point to the Republicans every cycle they can be expected to lose. So Democrats could win the state handedly could win the state, considerably, but it's it's reasonable to consider this a toss-up, considering last election could have been, in theory, close. But you have to remember that Joe Manchin did win the seat 60% to 36, which is pretty wide, to be honest. And that's about 4% to other candidates. I've rounded down every number because I'm not going to do that much math. However, we have to remember when he first won his seat, the Republicans did much better, and he did about 7 points worse. However, the most recent trend, however, since the year 2000, Democrats have lost a whopping 26 points in the state, going down from 33 to 7-point advantage. Or similar to about 10 points every election. Somewhere in between 2 and 3 cycles. If it's 2, they lose 13 every election. If it's 3, including the special election, which I'm half counting, it's closer to 8. It's a little bit, but I'm going to look at it somewhere in between, about 10 points, but it's really 13 points every cycle, which would indicate if this was a vacant seat, the Republicans would win this seat. Okay? And yes, hi, I know this is just a map of West Virginia, but, it's what we're talking about. And I'm going to look at I'm going to do the math for everyone. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at an incumbent, so I'm going to give Joe Manchin a bonus point. And he's a popular senator, so I'm going to give him another bonus point for being popular. I'm going to go somewhere in between the two points between the amount a Democrat should be expected to lose, simply because we've got a long-term trend and a short-term trend. Also, I should probably look at I'm going to look at it. That's not it. That's House ballot. That's a generic House ballot. Let's go to Larry Sabato. He generally knows what we're talking about, or what he's talking about. Okay, here's the Senate. Generic ballot. Well, I want to see what the actual percents are. Okay, I'll make sure to do this, record this next time. But I could see the Democrats, see the state voting about 5 or 6 points more Democrat than the nation as a whole. Between 4 and 6 points more Democrat than the nation as a whole. So I'm going to predict Joe Manchin to win this seat going. I'm going to be a little conservative. I'm not going to go with the recent trend, but I'm also not going to be too conservative and go with the long-term trend. So I expect this seat to go to Joe Manchin, and the margin compared to the nation is going to be D plus, I'm going to say 5. I'm going to say 5. Because it really could be vote R plus 6, or it could vote D plus 6. So that's my range. So the range I'm expecting is, with our predictions, is R plus 6 to D plus 6. So 6 points more Republican to 6 points more Democrat. I'm saying it's going to vote 5 points more Democrat than the nation as a whole for a few reasons. Number one, I see Joe Manchin as a strong candidate. Number two, he's popular. Number three, he's an incumbent. I'm going to harp on that point a lot. He's an incumbent. And the third reason is this is a year the Democrats have the advantage. So I'm going to say that this is actually going to be a solid Democrat state when it comes to the Senate. I know I had it likely Dem. I'm upgrading it to safe Democrat. This is a safe seat for the Democrats. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a nice day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.